you guys. So I need some more tomato cages. And before I showed you this bunch of wire that we got at the the garbage dump, and I made them into tomato cages, and they go fully, like a full cage goes around a tomato. And I need to make some more, but I started wondering, do I really need to wrap the tomato fully? Do I need to enclose it all the way? Or if I just did half circle, would that be good enough? So let me show you what I'm talking about on some tomatoes that I have in pots, because that's mostly what I'm worried about right now. So these particular tomatoes that I have here, all up and down, and then I got some beans down there, are along this fence, this dirty ass fence. But you can see that I've got chicken wire here, so I can easily tie these tomatoes off to the chicken wire, and actually I've been doing that. But for the tomatoes that I have that are freestanding, I'm thinking about putting the cages in the pots, having the bottom of the cages with the very bottom wire cut off so that they'll poke into the dirt, and I'm thinking about just taking it from halfway around. So if I measure the diameter of the pot inside to inside, I'm getting just less than 10 inches. And with my non-existent math skills, I plugged it into computer, and I've discovered that the circumference of this whole pot then is about 31 inches. I can't get an accurate measurement with this thing, so I'm going to rely on good old math. So half is about 15 inches. It's actually like 31.58 or something. So 15 or 16 inches should be a good number for halfway around the pot. And if it's a little more or a little less, I don't really care. But I'm thinking that might save me a bunch of time and effort. Now, the height of the tomatoes I have varies hugely, and I have some tomatillos that are over 5 feet tall. So I think we need to go back and measure that wire and see, maybe I can do some that I don't have to use the whole length of that wire, the height of it. Maybe I can cut some in half like I've been doing previously, or I just need to use the whole length, but I'm not really sure how tall it is. I do think it's 5 feet, but let's go look. Yeah, so it's right at 4 feet. So I'm going to unroll this and make a couple half circles, crescents, if you will, and then we'll try them in some pots and see what happens. So let's get it started. All right, so I've got this unrolled right now, and what I'm finding is that the squares are about 2 inches. So I can go 20, 18, either 16 and a quarter or 14 and a quarter. So I'm going to try both, and let's just see which one fits better in the pot. All right, I'm going to get to cutting. Alright, so now we've got poke ends to go into the pot, and we'll give this a half twist. So let's go try a 16-incher and see how it works. Alright, so here's a tomatillo plant. It's about a good 3 feet tall. Let me take you off your stand for a second. So I put the poke ends in down here, and I did bend this. I just used my knee. I probably should find something that's more rounded and bend it around that, but I'll do that if I need to do that with any of the pots. This one accepts this easily, and I'll just kind of put the leaves through. It's a good sturdy stand, and I'll easily be able to tie this tomatillo up to this if I need to. Looks pretty good to me. How's it look to you guys? So pretty natural, and it will easily stand. So that saves me half the amount of wire that I was using before, like this kind of a cage. You can see this. It's a big circular cage, although it's very short. It's just for shorter things, but so you can cut them short or tall. But so anyway, that's a slightly different way to do, I guess I call them a tomato cage, but it's really a plant stake. And you could do this directly in the ground as well as in a pot. So anyway, interesting idea. Alright, you guys, so I also decided to try the same gardening cage technique in the ground, and I cut a gob of these, and you can see I staked all these tomatoes, and it works just as well as it did in the pots. It's kind of hard to get these into the ground because I do wood chip gardening, so I had to kind of force them into the ground, but overall they look really good. They're supportive, and since I've got this bend in all of them, it seems to make it more rigid, and it allows this to really stay in place. And so the pokey ends all go into the ground. I had to get a little board to put in here to step down on, because obviously my feet aren't 2 inches wide. So when I put them in the ground, I had, look at these little cinnabar caterpillars. They turn into these moths that eat the tansy weed, but they're everywhere this year. Okay, so anyway, I put a stick like that and just stepped on it, which then put it into the ground a little easier. But anyway, I wanted to show you not only do they go in the pots, but they work really well in the ground. So thanks.